What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. If you don't like it, you can have that seatbelt. Alright, so I've gotten a lot of flack over the years for calling out Digital Foundry when they've been wrong. Because for some reason, a lot of people out there, a ton of people seem to think that Digital Foundry can never be wrong. Everything they say is the facts. And that's simply not true. And I've proven this a few times over the last few years already. But people just say, oh, that's just damage controlling, blah, blah, blah. Even though the proof is there, the proof is in the freaking pudding. Okay? Use their own freaking footage to prove my point. But people say I was hating. No, you're just going after them just because they had some stuff to say about the Wii U. Look, I like Digital Foundry. I like Eurogamer. But I also realize that they have made some mistakes. Not everything that they say is a fact. And this has been proven time and time again. Right? So the thing that's crazy is that Digital Foundry, in my opinion, is both one of the best things to happen to the game industry and the worst. The reason why it's one of the best things is because we get to see how these games run before making a purchase. And some of these games run so crap that we're thankful. We're like, oh man, dodged a bullet on that one. And then because Digital Foundry is so freaking popular, that bad news has forced a lot of developers to fix their games before launch or fix them right after launch. And that's great. The bad thing is where when you see people, and there's a lot of them, that focus way too much on the technical specs. Way too much. You have people that weren't even interested in the game at all until Digital Foundry says the game runs good. Oh, it's 60 frames per second, 1080p. Then all of a sudden, oh, you know, I'll check this out. A game they had no interest in, but they'll check it out because it runs well. And then on the opposite side of the coin, you got games that people were super hyped for, and they find out that there's really small frame rate issues, and they decide not to buy it. Even though the game's playable, even though the frame rate drops were pretty insignificant, because Digital Foundry pointed them out, they no longer want the game. Or because they thought the game was a certain resolution before, thought the game looked great until they found out what the real resolution was that they couldn't tell anyway. And now all of a sudden they don't want the game. Which brings us to what happened today. So the developers of Redout, a futuristic racer, Wipeout F-Zero style racer that's coming to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. So they did a analysis of the PlayStation 4 Pro version versus the Xbox One X, and came to the conclusion that the Xbox One X version was still 1080p. Well, apparently that ain't true, right? And the freaking developer is so enraged that they're threatening Digital Foundry with legal action, right? Now you're probably wondering, well, how could this be? How could they get it wrong? Well, the way that they count pixels is actually a lot more simpler than most people know. I'm pretty sure most people think that they use some kind of special program, some kind of special machine that tells them this is the native resolution, this is that, but that is not true, and it's a lot more simple than you actually think. And they actually put a video up a couple years ago explaining it. So I'll post the link to that video in the description so you guys can check it out. Your mind's gonna be blown because it's very simple, but it also leaves a huge room for error because of how it's done. And that's what happened with this game. Now, I do think that these developers are kind of taking it to the extreme. They shouldn't be trying to sue Digital Foundry over this, especially considering I don't even think the game's not even out yet. They could have just contacted them, had them fix it, and it would have been fine. But it just goes to show you just how seriously people take these Digital Foundry comparisons and technical analysis. Like, they honestly will buy or not buy a game based on what Digital Foundry says about it. And that's kind of dangerous, I guess. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Make sure you check that video out so you can see how they pixel count. I think it's gonna blow a lot of you guys' minds because it's a lot more basic than you probably think. Let me know in the comment section.